A big driver was my father passed when I was 11 years old, and I used it as a fuel because I didn't really quite understand at that age, preteen, what was going on. He died of lung cancer. It was a driver for me to almost like, kick the flame to go after life and get it. Go. Don't wait. You're not guaranteed tomorrow.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Hello, West Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, individuals that can help us thrive in our lives. Well, this is for all the people that have always wanted to write a book. Many of us would love to write a book. We get started many times and we just cannot complete it, or we don't even know where to start. Well, my guest today is a dear friend that has written many books. They're right here on their table right here. This is my guest, Tony Rubleski, who is currently the president of, I'm just going to read what he sent me so I have it all down here, Mind Capture Group. He's the creator of the best-selling Mind Capture book series. His 5th book, Trailblazer Leadership Lessons from 12 Pioneers Who Beat the Odds and Influenced Millions, was on the #1 of Amazon, and he is a coach. He wrote a fabulous book during COVID when most of us were trying to figure it all out. Some of us didn't go that way, but he did, and it was Positive Disruption. He put on events when it was still kind of dicey if we should put on events or not. He has been interviewed in Toastmaster magazine, which he is. That's why he always likes my stuff on LinkedIn for Toastmasters. He's been on Detroit Free Press, Fox News Network. He's been on ABC, CNN, NPR, and Entrepreneur Magazine Radio. He's been on Grand Tap Media a few times, especially we were at the Castle, at WCET, and now we're at WKTV. And he has been an instructor at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome Tony Rubleski, and he is our best-selling author, and he is going to be talking about his new book, So You Want to Write a Book. He's going to have a lot to share with us today.
Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Tony.
We're back again.
I know, and I really appreciate you being on my show. And when
pleasure.
I reached out to be my guest on my 6th season already.
Wow, congrats.
Can
well
you believe
done.
it? I said, I'm going to call up some friends and start having them in. I had no idea that you were writing a book.
Yeah.
And you were writing a book that came out. You said, perfect timing, Pamela. And I said, thank you so much. And I go, well, you know what? What's the book? So you want to write a book.
Yep.
And write a book. And I will tell you, I've done book dedications. You know that because we did one of yours at the Castle. Many people want to write a book. Many people they think they have a story. You know this when you're out there. Everybody has a story. So first of all, just tell us, for my audience that don't know you, who the heck is Tony Rubleski? And he has all of these books, and what has he been writing in these books? Okay. And what have you been up to since last time I spoke to you, my friend?
Well, it's good to be back, first and foremost. A West Michigan guy. I appreciate the shameless plug our team sent over. But no, I love to help people, and writing is a passion. And I have to tell you now, coming up my 20th year full-time doing this, it's one of those joys that even I have challenges with as a writer. So the book was written really as a challenge from another local author over a cup of coffee. And he said, look, why don't we have this idea to write a book in 30 days? And usually I'd have been like, I don't have enough time.
Are you kidding? Can you read this and write a book in 30 days?
Well, that was the challenge. We had to get that book done. So I just said, okay. And then around 30 days later, we both had our manuscripts ready to go. And it's obviously a shorter book. And the reason the book is smaller is I want people to get writing. I don't want to have this novel about how to write a book where people get distracted and I would say tripped up writing the book by reading instead of writing. Right. So it's small by design. It's very hard hitting. It's directly to the point. Kind of funny. The advanced reviews are like, man, you don't pull any punches. You're like, get going, because there's a couple things. One of my mentors that has written, 25 books, Dan Kennedy would say is, you got to chunk this thing down. And writing to me is not easy, but it's not like there's writer's block and that people just can't do it. Something I mentioned, you've heard me say this probably at many live events, is never downplay the significance of your own life story. So whoever's watching this in real time or in time shifting because of the internet, everyone's got stories, Pamela.
Yep.
And they have
certainly
different
do.
influence to directly impact their circle of influence, who they work with, the team they're with, whatever message they're putting out online and social media. Their stories may connect with people because people know and like them, or they're in that sphere of influence. So I don't have full claim to have the best stories. Everyone's out there got great stories as well. So I always say never downplay that significance. And don't let anybody, particularly online, the trolls, the haters, the critics, just distract you from writing your book. Everyone can do it, I believe, if they put the time in. This book is designed to give them some shortcuts, some systems to do it much faster. And a lot of it's a mindset where I'm like a drill sergeant telling them, here's what we do. Here's several ways you can pick and choose to get yourself off your butt, motivated, grab paper and pen to get writing. And the way I prefer to write, this is weird, paper and pen. I can write on an airplane, I can write in a coffee shop much faster than I can do the keyboard.
Are you writing what you think the chapter should be about, or are you writing actual, words for the, do you
Content
understand?
for it.
Yeah, content.
Both.
There's what I'm looking
Both.
for.
I work off an outline, and a lot of what I advocate in the book is the cliche is start with a blank page like an artist. I call BS on that because most people will delay and delay and delay because they don't have any roadmap or a structure. So I'm big about getting an outline. You fill the outline in. Now, fiction writers is a different ballgame. So a lot of my forte and expertise is the nonfiction space. I write like I talk and speak. So that is my forte and my passion. Other good fiction writers, I'd give a couple examples of stories in there from John Grisham. He's got 34 straight #1 bestsellers, 300 million copies in print. And his advice, his opening chapter is, the best advice I ever got was write 1 page a day. Until you write 1 page a day, nothing will happen. So why not archetype model the best, John Grisham in the world of fiction. J.K. Rowling. She started out in 1990, she was unemployed, she's a single mom, riding the train back and forth to London, started writing little notes, typing up. Many years later, she got rejected by I think 15 different publishers. A little book comes out in 1997 called Harry Potter. The rest is history.
Yeah.
But those types of fiction writers that are famous, from her to Stephen King. I've read Stephen King's books on writing. His book on writing is phenomenal. Much more detail-oriented for more of an advanced writer. So I'm pulling from some of the greats that you see in the common society, also to those that are maybe your next door neighbor that put out a cookbook at 85 years old. What did they do? To me, success always leaves the clues. And in the book, it's designed to give you some tips to the how-to to do it. So again, it's not exclusive claim for the I'm not smart enough. Biggest enemy to writing is their self-talk.
Yeah.
Is I'm too busy, or what would my wife think? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a writer. My English teacher thought I was a C student. I couldn't do it. I call BS on all that. And I say, you know what? Why not? Because I get asked every week, multiple times, how do I write a book? So I said, you know what? Let's write a book to help you. So you want to write a book? Here you go. It's a good starter point, like the candle. We put the flame under their butt and get them writing.
Well, that's what people want to do, is just getting that flow of writing. And then it is amazing. I started to take your advice on writing. So I'd like to write a fiction, not a non. Most people, do you deal? I mean, you have all nonfiction there.
Yep.
But when you're out in the world, public, and you're dealing with people, what is it they mostly want to write about? Is it nonfiction, or do they have a fiction story in their mind? They just know they want to write?
It varies. And what will happen is I know enough good fiction writers to refer them to other writing coaches. I just had a cup of coffee with a good writing coach this morning in Grand Haven. Her name is Deb Stanley. Shameless plug. She's phenomenal, Deb. I said, I may be referring you, once this book comes out, to people that approach me on the fiction space for editing, story creation, ideation process. So I go to other experts. Because if it's not my lane, I'm not going to go there. I'll refer to other people that have that expertise to assist in that lane. Okay, fiction's very different than nonfiction.
Right.
It's more how-to, that's my realm. Whereas fiction, I have a great respect, is how do you take a story and then dump your mind from the mindset into the keyboard or the pen to weave a story onto paper. I'm always intrigued and have massive respect for the great fiction writers that can weave a story like that. Mine are much more shorter stories, because again, I write like I talk. And some people say, well, I don't know how to do it. Well, if you're driving, why don't you voice dictate it? There's easier ways to capture. You can write it down. You can have Post-it notes. You can write them on the back of napkins. Ideas strike me constantly. Just this past Saturday, I was doing some work on the book, some promotion, and an idea hit me leaving the coffee shop. I pulled my car over in a cemetery, stopped, hazard lighted, I was safe, grabbed a notebook on the back and wrote down the idea for like 2 minutes so I didn't lose the idea. Because I didn't want to try to do it on my phone.
It does pop away quickly, don't it?
Yeah,
Like
so
a dream.
capture those ideas, capture those stories, funny things that you see in life. If it's the idea that hits you in the shower on your drive to work, like J.K. Rowling on her commute back and forth to London while she was looking for work, she was writing Harry Potter over a period of several years. So there's no magic formula. You have to do it. Fran Tarkenton, the Hall of Fame quarterback from the Minnesota Vikings.
I do know him.
Yep,
Even though
12
I don't know
years
a lot
ago.
of quarterbacks,
Yep.
I do know him.
12 years ago, I had the honor to go on before him for a group in Indianapolis, and then I stayed around and watched him speak. And he said something in the beginning of his keynote that really struck me, that is very true of the writing process in this book. He goes, let me give you all the secret to success. And the whole audience kind of leaned in like, okay, this guy's in the Hall of Fame, he's been successful. And he goes, it's 2 words. And we're kind of like, okay. And he goes, hard work. And like hear this, like this big deflation of the audience, the crowd, like, that's it? And he goes, no, a lot of times we make these things so complex. Writing is not easy, but there are systems and ways that we cover in the book to make it much more palatable. And again, the inner battle is the mind that will trick you. Well, I'm too busy, my kids are busy, I don't have time, and work's been busy.
I'll do it another day.
But then they can tell you, anyone binge watch Netflix shows, I watched the last season's Yellowstone, or I binge watched these 2 series I watched. You have the time. You have not made it a priority.
Yeah.
So I really work on the inner battle quickly in the pages of that book to get you to go, I have the time. I just have to believe. Or I have to reshuffle a little bit of time, or John Grisham's quote, 1 page at a time. Then you stack up over a period of a few months, you have 100 pages. You're on your way. Another couple tricks or techniques is tell a few people you're going to write a book. Say, I'm going to have a book done in 6 months. And you tell 4 or 5 of your closest friends.
Are you supposed to do that? Because other people are saying, don't tell your dreams to other people.
You got to know who to tell them to. But also, those 4 or 5 people, if you have the right people in your circle, maybe a couple close friends and a couple family, they're going to be like, how's your book coming along? How's your book coming along? If you're really gutsy, and I'm at a different progression now, I'll put out like, hey, there's a book coming out next year. And then I've had thousands of fans going, what's the new book about? When's it coming out? I'm like, oh no, I have public accountability.
What's the title? Do you have the cover? Because you have some pretty cool titles.
Yeah, but that's when we come back next year, I'll tell you. But so no, the new book is really just, again, it was written on a lark very quickly as a challenge. So I had an accountability partner, another writer, he got his book done too. So we were at a different level. So like, let's try this really quick. And I'm like, okay, why not? And usually I'd be like, hey, I'm too busy, I don't have time to do this. And we actually got it done. So the completion of that, it's also a big solution to a major problem. I mean, what is it, 81% of people in North America surveyed want to write a book before they die. That's a large audience.
That is a large audience.
And if someone's watching and goes, well, my brother-in-law, my mom keeps wanting to write a book, maybe that you get the book for them. So I know it's a shameless marketing plug, but you may know 3 or 4 people like, yeah, I've been wanting to write a book for years. Get the book for them. They may go, oh my gosh, I've been listening to the last 3 years. I'm tired of you talking about it. Here's another tool to get you writing. Get this book.
Yeah. You got your book done.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Was weight loss and to get the book done. The other one, we really didn't hit that, but we hit 2 out of the 3. It sounds like an old rock and roll song.
Oh.
But so the key thing is whatever means necessary. There's several ideas in there. Some are funny, some are pretty direct. Like, wow, he's kind of being like tough on us. Well, pick and choose, and everyone's going to have a different level of motivation, time structure, history, stories, fiction versus nonfiction, access to resources. But I say, look, another couple of things I'm going to share with you about in the book, I say, act as if you're going to be dead in here. And that wisdom goes to the grave. Would you want to go to the grave, or would you want to get some recorded documentation, either a PDF or a blog that could be turned into a physical book? But act as if you got 1 year left to live. That's another weird one that does motivate some people.
Is that what motivates you?
Never been asked that.
Well, okay. So you look at those books there. I mean, and you've written that. What? It's been like 20 years of writing books.
Yep.
I mean, I was thinking about that because I have some of your books at my house. What do you think of them now that you're older, wiser, and on some of the older ones? I mean,
That's a good question.
did you ever go back and say, yeah, because you're seeing it today.
Yeah.
People are saying, I wish I would have known what I was putting out 20 years ago. But it's 20 years, and you have a book every year, every other year?
We're starting to go out every 1.5 to 2 years. There's some goals down the line.
What do you say to the old Tony that was writing the books?
You started it. You got it going.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And I was kind of fumbling forward in my early 30s. I'm 51 now, and I go, okay, I'm still here. Thank you, God. I'm alive. Oh. And I look at it, and there's a sense of fun. Not arrogant proudness, but like you did it and just keep moving forward and writing. I write in different quadrants. I don't always write about business. Some of it's about mindset, motivation, how to.
Yes.
And more spiritual the last few years of my faith walk. But I go, thank you, I'm still in the game. And I look at it and go, wow, it's amazing when you stack over a period of years in your career and you do output and you create, this thing can keep growing. And one of the big goals is by 60, knock on wood, God willing, is I'd like to have 20 books done. So I got to hustle. We got to hustle the next 9 years to get another 10 books done.
You get the process down. I can tell that because you're able to really be, even though you needed to get a coach to get you kicked. Some people do, authors finally, get in a slump. Like, I don't know what to write about. I don't know what, I don't want it to be sound the same, repetitive, right? Like you did the positive disruption. That was a totally different thing. You just took quotes, and then the second book, you're like, submit all these quotes, and we'll be the best.
We just kept building off the success of the first positive disruption. We put volume 2. Back to your question, the big driver, and I talk about it in the book. It's pretty candid stories in there about, okay, I've had some low valleys that I used to, after the sadness and the acceptance, that going through what I call the hell, you come out and you go, how are we going to come out of this? A big driver was my father passed when I was 11 years old, and I used it as a fuel because I didn't really quite understand at that age, preteen, what was going on. He died of lung cancer. It was a driver for me to almost like, kick the flame to go after life and get it. Go. Don't wait. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. I'm not saying that, when I turned 47, it was weird. I'm like, I made it. I was like, thank you, Dad, I made it. Like, I made it to 47. It was a big goal to get to 47.
I've heard that from people that have lost a father.
So it was one of those things that I said, how do we use this to honor my father? I also talk about heavily in the book the list of 4 exercise. My dad is one of the 4, and there was 3 other friends that died in high school and college, and I put their names and the dates they passed on from the earthly realm. In those 4, I think of them every day. I write in my gratitude list. I say, I'm grateful for my list of 4. My dad and those 3. Those 4 have driven me the last 25 plus years to go after life. Doesn't mean be reckless and be stupid, but take some chances. Go after things. Be grateful. Laugh every day. Enjoy music, beauty, art, and failure. And know that when you're going after, especially being self-employed, you're going to fail a lot, but you want to fail forward, as John Maxwell, the great leadership teacher, has taught me. You're failing forward to something. Now, if you keep failing the same thing over and over, you might want to rethink it or go, what did I learn from that? So I don't keep making the same mistake out of ignorance or stupidity. I'm learning the lessons to keep refining the angle of moving the degrees 2 or 3 degrees, so you get back on trajectory. So that is deep story in there about the list of 4 exercise. Find a few people that have passed on that you want to honor them by living a life of significance, Pamela.
Well, and that's what everybody wants to do, especially after 2020. A lot of people prioritize their life. How is it going out there? I haven't traveled only but to Alabama because my husband is retired in the last few years, and so we go there. But the networking, what are people looking for? What are businesses? You're out there all over the place, and you got a busy schedule coming up. I appreciate you being on my show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Especially with your book coming out. So what are businesses looking for? What are they asking you to do to get their leadership, their team? Let's go. Let's get that kick in the butt.
That's a great question. Very, very deeply layered. I'll try to go with some high points, okay? What I'm getting the most out of is people are burned out. Get in here and not so much motivate, but inspire them. We plug our cell phone every day to recharge it. What are we doing to plug our soul in? There's a better question. If we lose our phone, if it's dying, we'll do anything, move heaven and earth to find a portable charger, plug it in our car, find a wall.
Buy one.
Oh, you'll buy, oh my God, I spent $40, I gotta have my phone on. What are we doing each day with that urgency to recharge our soul? And I'm getting more of that call from CEOs in many industries saying, get on a plane, get in here now, our people are just burned out. Give them some realistic, pragmatic inspiration. I call it positive disruption. And I come in, you've seen me train, it's pretty hard hitting. That you're going to have adversity. It's okay to have some setbacks. It's okay to try an idea that doesn't work now. But at least we're trying. We're not just resigning. We're not quiet quitting like was big in the first 2 years of COVID. We're past quiet quitting. Now we're like, what's going to happen? We're not going back to 2019. The world has completely changed.
I know.
But what can we do to keep upgrading ourselves?
Maybe we're mourning about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the hangover effect, I think.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what just happened? This is not normal. And we're like, now we have to act as if it maybe didn't happen. It happened. So what do we do to pick up the pieces to get personal sovereignty? I say go inward to go upward. And what I mean by that is you have great genius in you. Every human's got it. I've met so many people on the road the last 20 years of life that I'm like, attaboy or girl, you did this? I am inspired. All these odds that were stacked against you and you still did it, That to me is impressive. And every human's got it in them to a degree.
I think we know that
Yeah.
sometimes deep down.
So
too, don't you?
mindset
Yeah.
and soul, how do we tune that up? The other thing is leadership. You know, Trailblazers book you mentioned, the bio, that came out right before the pandemic, and it got lost because you could not give away leadership talks in 20 and 21. Everyone's like, how do we find employees? What's going on? We're living in the twilight zone. Now there's been a circular swing back to get on the road and teach leadership. In organizations like, how do we find leaders? How do we promote our leaders up? Half of them want to quit. How do we keep them to stay?
Yeah.
And once they stay, how do we give them enough manageable goals and co-create a game plan to stay in the organization to want to not leave? So all of a sudden, certain books come back in fashion that I don't know the timing, but the societal trends warrant like, okay, we want that one. And so sometimes you go back to the bookshelf and go, all right, this one's back in flavor again because the situation, the world events have changed. So it's interesting to have a catalog to pull in and out of. If there's something I don't know, I tell them, or I refer it out. I don't have the answer to that. I'm not your guy. So it's
Yeah.
learning that wisdom to not be everything to everybody.
Is that what you
I used to be that.
Yeah, you try to be
I
everything.
used to
and
be a
that-
classic people pleaser. I'm going to be the next big speaker. And after a while I said, I need to be me. I need to figure out who the heck I am. In my mid-40s, it happened. Hit a major wall in my life, and it was like that dark night of the soul times 100, and everything changed since then. And I go, okay, higher power, God, however you define it, that was a major, like, boom, you need to figure out who you are, and everything has changed since then.
Well, do you think that that's what people are trying to get the spiritual or the, spiritual part of their life, because we've been full focused on the success, getting, getting to the next level, getting the better house, and now all of a
My
sudden,
body language is
COVID-
going like this. You see it?
Yes,
There's your answer, yes.
body, yeah.
I'm getting more groups that traditionally business don't mind if I mention spirituality. It's been fun to watch.
That's
I used to
surely-
be very concerned about that. I've had churches, political groups ask me to speak. I used to never go near those third rails. I wouldn't go near them to speak. I'm like, nope, I see too much division. They were like, we want you. Please come speak with us. Are you sure you want me? Because I'm going there. Positivity, not division. And I've I've come in. I've changed my worldview. And I'm like, all right, if you want me to go there, I'm not going to compromise. I'll speak at your political event or I'll speak at your church. I'm not a preacher or a politician. You've asked me to come in with a different viewpoint. Thank you. I'll accept the invitation. It's scary sometimes. But when you're changing, you feel comfortable and you have your boundaries and you hold the boundary and you tell them up front how we're going to play, sometimes they go, we want you to play with us. So definitely spirituality. It's a big component.
It is a big
Whether
component.
people believe in the higher power, or Buddha, Allah, Jesus,
Even if they
Yahweh,
don't, even if they don't,
Krishna,
something's missing, right?
but
something.
you're seeing, I think, a deeper awakening on the planet. People say, you know what, it's maybe some of the material stuff is not as important as we thought.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge to the Western view of success. And I say, you know what, why can't both coexist? I'm not saying like from a hippie Earth Day perspective. I'm talking, why can't spirituality and business exist? People talk about, well, in school it doesn't exist. Schools are separated from religion unless it's, private schools. Well, trust me, in every public school every day there's millions of kids praying whether they believe in God or not.
Yeah.
They're praying right now on that exam. And I think that's been the awakening, the blossoming. I'm very grateful, strong opinion is, it's okay to have your faith be out there. Doesn't mean you want to try to convert everybody to preach at them. But I think having good spiritual grounding helps the entire planet.
It helps you deal with everything, and there's no separation. I mean, it's not like you can go. You need it to focus on doing a well job, everything like that. We're finding that out. So it's there. It's
Yeah.
there. However you want. Not here to tell you where.
We have forgotten the
Yeah.
art of disagreeing and still being friends.
Yeah.
That's why I could probably never run for governor or politics. It's very divisive to a degree. I don't like that. I look for the commonality, the good in all humans. Because I have friends and writers in the arts all over the world that are all over the place, from spirituality to sexuality. I still love them. I'm not God. I have my faith walk. I'm proud of my faith walk, but I don't preach it on them. They're watching to see, is he living it? Is he writing about it? Is he consistent with it? If they catch it, great. If not, I have to be me. But I love the people that have spiritual grounding.
I do too, and I think that's great. That's what it is. Now, where can they get the book? All right, this is short. It could go in your purse. It goes in your backpack. You can get it through in a day. And come on, let's get out there and write our books. There's
Yeah,
probably
get it done.
some great stories
Yeah.
that it would inspire people, and let's read on a rainy day
Yep.
instead of TV.
Easiest way is we are self-publishing it for now.
So look in that camera, tell us where
you
it's
just
at.
go to the main webpage, which is mindcapturegroup.com. Again, mindcapturegroup.com. You'll see the books there, and there's an order link there. But we're self-publishing for a variety of reasons. Number one, speed to market. We can get out there faster. I've done what's called hybrid publishing for many years, Pam, where most of my books are self-published for a variety of reasons. And we've done some New York published, where we're hybrid publishing. We've hit some Amazon #1s with some of the books, so I'm grateful for my publishers. But we are now going to more of a model where we can go faster to market by going self-direct. And with point-and-click phone technology, people just go right to the site and they order. So.
And I don't think people, when they go to your website and go, social media, however they connect to you, I'm not looking, oh, is it published? I want to read the book. And I've heard about it. And I want to, as soon as you said what the title was, most of us that are out here, I know a lot of people like you do that would like to write a book, leave something for their family. Just a child, like David has always wanted to write a children's book. Never did it.
There's a clue.
So
there's
here
a prompting.
you go. So you can get your book. Like I said, go listen. Just what Tony told you to do on that one. And is there anything else before we wrap this up? Anything? I didn't even look at the questions that your publisher sent me or your marketer, and I didn't even. I'm so sorry.
No, I just want to thank you again. And for anyone that's watching right now is, don't, there's many teachers of mine, like Les Brown would say, paraphrase him, that you drive by a graveyard and all those stories, all those wisdom, it's like all those libraries in their mind disappeared. No one documented. And I think what's beautiful is to watch people that, regardless of age, in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s, that have a little blog that they can easily make that content into a printed book. So the excuse times are up. Everything's digital now. Everyone's got pages, blogs, social media. They post. You can take your post of your little stories and your comments and make it into a book. And once it goes online, it's there pretty much for eternity. If you look at technology, once it's online, the ones and zeros of digital, it's got that digital footprint. So you already are doing it. Most people are already doing this.
Exactly.
And then you have different resources like the book to help you collate, to find the right people to help you edit it, to shrink it down, to write it, to look at grammar. But here's the other big tip to end with. Do not let the how-to of writing stop you from writing. There's more resources than ever that will help you from editing to layout to design work to structure in the outlines than any point in human history, because everything's on your phone now. Yeah. Now you've got all sorts of resources. First book 22 years ago, there wasn't really any internet going on. No social media.
I know.
It was like dial up. Yeah. It was the dark ages, 56K, DSL digital phone lines. And now, just get it out of your head. And then what I always teach writers is this, and the book really hammers home, is just keep writing. Flow, 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 flow. Write, edit later, write. And you'd be shocked what you can come up with if you don't stop, start. Get it out.
Exactly. All right, good way to wrap this up. Thank you very much, Tony Rubleski.
Good to see you. You're very welcome.
Here. It's always good to see you.
A pleasure. Thank you for having me back. Season 6, well done, my friend.
Thank you so much. This is Pamela Keim from Grand Tap Media. We will catch you next time. Take care, everyone.
See ya.